We are going to have to act if we want to live in a different world.
Hello and welcome to EdgeCast episode 9. I'm Victor Von Zoom and with me is Swade.
Heyo.
And Garam. Second chair again, bitch!
Yes, and I am burning shit today. Seriously, I bought like a fuck ton of candles, and I'm gonna have a hard time getting angry today because they're like scented, and I'm just so mellow.
I don't know. I mean, being surrounded by, smells all day would probably annoy me.
Better than the smells I'm usually surrounded
smells.
by. Hey,
Too
man,
many
you
smells.
Like you have like really intense like lavender or some shit. I'm gonna be really annoyed. It's like spray a bunch of like Febreze in a room.
How many
That's
times
terrible.
have I bitched to you guys about my job and like the shit I do every day?
I wonder if
Like
they sell
go
the
dump like
bacon-scented
cleaning
candles.
supplies in a room, even if it's supposed to smell nice. Too much of that's
Do
gonna
they
be
sell
annoying.
bacon? Someone should really make some bacon scented candles.
They have those.
They have them. They're
Fucking
actually
awesome.
kind of horrible.
I would imagine they would be terrible. Yeah.
Like, I don't know why, because like bacon, like everyone says bacon goes great with everything, and it's like I agree with that on principle because I've never had anything with bacon in it.
The flavor of bacon goes great with everything. The smell of bacon, no.
No, the smell of bacon is fine as bacon, but like when you put it on anything else, it's kind of fucked up. Like candles, fucking air fresheners, car fresheners. That one time somebody decided to make mayonnaise that tasted like bacon. That was kind of weird.
No, yeah, it was kind of.
You can totally do.
I don't know.
Just
you can like make your laundry smell like bacon, maybe like sheets smell like bacon. That would be pretty bad.
Now you should do that as a prank. And just like one of those like soft hand pranks where like some people maybe just totally enjoy it, and if they hate it, you're just like, well, whatever, it's a prank, bro.
Bacon laundry detergent, that's terrible.
Yeah, they do that. No, you do that shit, and you sneak into a fucking hotel, and you change, and you steal all the laundry detergent, and replace it with bacon laundry detergent. Ruin that motherfucker. Anyway, so we should probably get into our first topic. We've already rambled enough. Do we want to? We should probably talk about the French elections first.
Oh yeah.
It went exactly as everyone was anticipating.
Yeah, macaroni and penne both got the two highest.
Man,
what?
You fucking.
What?
It's just
a pun.
No, I know it's a terrible pun though, because like I mean, you just ruined my dreams. I've spent this entire time thinking this whole French election is so it's like nationalism versus cuckoldry. Fucking, we gotta beat back the socialists, and then when you finally see the people, it's a fucking like it's a fucking living pen versus the boss of Quake 2, and instead you're like, no, it's pasta.
It's pasta.
It's pasta.
Yeah, whatever. Anyways, yeah. So Le Pen and then Macron are
the Macron.
Yeah, they're both going to they're both going to runoff elections in May. I think May 7th.
May 7th.
Yeah. So and then of course Nate Silver. Did I link you that?
Yes, you did.
Nate Silver was like, no, there's no way Le Pen can win. It's not mathematically possible.
Nate Chromium.
I mean, he might be right.
Nate Mollybendium.
I don't have faith in his abilities anymore at all. Like, and especially the thing is, like, he's really good at number crunching, right?
Mm-hmm.
He's really good at like taking polls and like data and analyzing them. But he's much better when it's with sports, and he's much better when it's with sports because sports are
they
much
give you
more
stats
closed.
On every single bit of information they've
like,
ever reported about.
They're predictable. You don't have players that you don't know about. It's a closed game. Everyone knows the rules. You are not allowed to break the rules. And then in the sense of like you're immediately disqualified. You can't really get like actually away with like being known as a rule breaker or whatever, whereas with politics is kind of different. And also, he's not that great at inferential statistics. Like he's not very good at looking at data and thinking about and testing, you know, why is this the data we're getting.
So in the words of Styx, he's book smart, not people smart. And also, quote,
he's an engineer instead of a scientist.
Quote, ha 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 ha, I correctly predicted Philadelphia, suck my dick, I am God.
Yeah.
Ha 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 ha.
Yeah, I predicted the most obvious shit ever a couple times, like, you know, whatever, so therefore I'm the best.
No, I'm talking about how Styx
Styx. Yeah.
He was the one who predicted fucking Pennsylvania flipping. And then he went and made a video about it where he's like, I hereby demote Nate Plastic to Nate Mollybendium or something like that.
I got a question for Swede. Are you from the coast northeast?
What?
The same accent.
Northeast.
Just a little bit of the same accent as
No,
Styx.
he sounds like Styx, but that's just a coincidence. Styx is
It is a coincidence.
Styx lives in Vermont. Swade is from Florida. It's one of those Floridian coincidences.
Yeah, it's pretty.
I'm
pretty
kidding.
Terrible.
I'm kidding. Swade was built in a lab. Stop asking questions now.
I'm actually a clone of Styx Hexenhammer.
With a clone of Styx Hexenhammer with 0.1 less inches of cock and twice as much brains. Better, stronger, faster. I don't know.
More handsome.
Yeah. I mean,
better at gardening.
If you say, definitely better at gardening, you motherfucker.
I mean, come on, Styx.
I waited for that update for years.
Swade's cheekbones are somehow more pronounced than Styx's.
I've never look, man. I don't even know what Swade looks like. He could be like fucking. He could look like the golden one for all I know. And like we're getting homosexual radiation on mic with him right now. Through the fucking airwaves.
Seriously though, like, do you see his garden? Like, I mean, it's some good mulch and all, but I mean, come on, man.
Yeah. So
not even a raised garden.
All right. So Le Pen's.
Yeah.
So
penne and macaroni.
So what do you guys predict? Do you think she's gonna win the runoff, or do you think Macron's gonna pull through some?
I'm gonna say
state fuckery.
I think there's going to be some serious shenanigans, and never underestimate how fucking cucked the French are.
Yeah, I'm going to say Macron has the obvious advantage. Like, even I have to, like, regardless, and I think even people that really are, like, partial to Pen have to say Macron has the obvious advantage. I'd say maybe, like, 30-70 Pen to Macron.
Oh, God.
Yeah, I started out after the... once it was immediately announced, obviously going to runoff, I'm like, okay, 50-50, but I've kind of been seeing about who's been saying what, and I'm like, you know, it's clear that there's very little political appetite for change, and there hasn't been much talk coming out of France.
Yeah, that was pretty obvious from just their closing speeches, where Macron went on and was basically just saying, like, I love all of you. Like, he basically said, like, welcome to Costco, I love you to all the French. And then fucking Le Pen went on immediately after and was like, you did not address any of these problems. We are still facing Muslim invasion. What the fuck is wrong with you? And he's just like,
They have the electrolyte that France craves.
Yeah, I guess he does. Look, man, I just want him to have a fucking speech where he's just like, if I am elected, I promise I won't fucking give you guys over to the Strog. I swear. I swear. But we all know everything's fucked, isn't it?
Oh, yeah, it just. I've been
and now I want to fucking talk about idiocracy.
And they're just.
We are fucking scatterbrained as hell tonight.
I'm sorry. Let's keep on topic. It's just.
So I did a quick look at the last couple of elections, and in 2007, Le Pen's Front National got 10.4%. Next election was in 2012, and they got 17.9. Now they just got 21.3.
Yeah, that is actually a pretty big jump, and I mean, one of the problems with that might be though that they go up with the expectation that that they're going to continue to go up. People put their faith in them, thinking that like they're rising so much. They're clearly it's now they're going to continue to rise. but then they go down a bit, and then because they go down a bit, people lose faith in them, and then they drop a lot more. Then they don't rise up, anymore. They almost like crash to the ground just because people stop, throwing money and votes at them on the basis that they're the up and comer, because they were the up and comer, but then they lost, and they lost.
Well, that assumes that there's powerful people kind of loving them who are throwing money at.
Well,
I'm just not seeing that.
Obviously, it's just that the majority of it. I say the majority of the people in power don't want Le Pen in power, and that's pretty obvious. But even people that aren't superpowers unto themselves still have money, and they still have votes, and they actually have more votes. I mean, they have more votes than they have than the people that with all the money have, anyways.
Yeah, the point of my argument is more that they have a track record of growing. Macron isn't going to solve any of the problems. That's making Front National. If Le Pen is not president of France,
but what I'm saying is
next time around.
Yeah, what I'm saying is maybe, but we can't say that for sure, because it might be that the backlash from her trying to become president and failing would be worse for her party than just if she just hadn't run for president at all, because she's so big now that she's going to be attacked a lot more. Her failures are going to be pointed out a lot more if and when she loses. And, there's going to be a lot more attention to the fact that she tried to run for president and failed than previously, when she had less support and she was less likely to become president and so on. And the other parties didn't view her as much of a threat.
I think,
especially because they came so far, and they might, and then she came so far and still failed. Maybe she just can't be president at all, and so her party loses faith in her. Her party, falls out of power and all that. Or that might not happen, and then maybe next time she will be president, if she's not this time, because they'll gain more votes, because they'll be encouraged by how much she gained this time, and so on, and the fact that she ran it all, and how much opposition she had, and how hardly she fought it. And we just can't really, I think, know to any reasonable extent until after the election. Especially, I'm not French. I don't think any of us here are French.
Well, I mean, Garam is Canadian, so he might have some insight.
He's not from Quebec.
I fucking hate the Quebecois.
Yeah, he's not from Quebec.
Well, we didn't know until you stopped talking over him, so.
Yeah, we did.
So I think you're very right if this was a conventional election.
Yeah.
However, I think what's happening in Europe is very unconventional.
Oh, yeah, I agree it's very unconventional, and actually that's more of why I'm giving her a shot of really gaining more support at all. If it was an ordinary election, I'd be like, no way, she loses and then she's fucked, and then she goes back to irrelevancy and her party falls apart. It's the fact that there is actual large-scale change occurring that really gives her, it really gives there to be, it really allows for a possibility that even if she loses the election, she continues to gain support. And if that wasn't the case, I would say that, she would just be, perceived as a loser, and then she just no one ever hears from her again. Yeah, I think it's the very fact that things are changing so much in Europe right now that I really view it as any kind of possibility that, her party will continue to be on the up and up even after she, even if and when she fails. And so I'd say maybe 50-50. I might even actually say her, I think she has a better shot of increasing her influence if she fails than not increasing it if she fails. And
of course, this is all subject to when the next fucking terrorist attack is, because...
maybe. I mean, I wouldn't go that far. I think it's more of I mean, it might for a time, but I think
if you have an attack on the scale of what happened in Nice, I mean, imagine if there was a slaughter of 80 people.
I mean, if she loses and then very quickly after she loses, there's a bunch of terrorist attacks, within a couple months or so on, then probably she would get more influence a lot that way, because her influence wouldn't have waned sufficiently that she's sort of fallen out of the public consciousness and people aren't really paying attention to her anymore. Whereas, like, if it's a long enough period of time, I guess you did say, like, when it is. But, yeah, I guess I'm just agreeing with you here. But if it's a long enough period
if there's another terrorist attack, it's when there's another terrorist attack.
Look,
if and when there's another terrorist attack, whatever, depending on how long it has passed since the election, I think that'll really affect whether or not, it's her party that really ends up, riling up everyone again and trying to make change, or whether it's just some other party that arises to take their place after they fall out of favor for failing.
Yeah, I kind of got to err on the side
assuming
of,
they
I'm gonna if my 2 cents matter, which they really don't because I'm obviously like the uninitiated one here.
Mm-hmm.
As far as
say that.
I would say that, yes.
Okay.
He is stupid.
I wouldn't say that. Come on.
I'm not hearing you, I guess.
Right.
But I would kind of err on the side of Garam just because, like, there's too many terrorist attacks and too much bullshit going on in Europe right now for it to be ignored. This is not this is not a time period conducive to creating another Barry Goldwater situation. Because that's what it is. Like,
I know that's what it is. Yeah, I was thinking of that actually as I was saying it.
Yeah,
that's pretty much exactly what it is.
Yeah, like, I don't think, like, you have a point. She might get, thrown under the fucking wheels of the war machine here, but more than likely they're, like, even if she loses, they're not just gonna be like, oh, yeah, well, she's just a loser. None of this fucking mattered. And then, like, another, like, I almost hope it's like some kind of a comedy skit where they try to have that happen, and then Macron gets hit by a fucking Mack truck in the middle of his inauguration speech.
Oh, that would be terrible. Obviously,
it would be terrible, absolutely disgusting.
It'd be terrible if there was a terrorist attack at like the inauguration of the French president.
I guess he would have been
at the same time that would be
over.
supreme irony.
Yeah. Though, in all likelihood, if there ever was a terrorist attack at the inauguration of the French president, it probably would be if Le Pen won.
Yeah,
which I think would be just such a dumb political move from the Islamist point of view. Then again, the Islamists don't have any sense of Western politics, and they don't fucking care. And they
I think they do.
I think that's
I think that's
a
goals than we assume.
Well, it's not just that. I think that's just a wholly mischaracterization because, like, the Islamist point of view is like there's many Islamist points of view. We kind of
there's lots of independent actors
if we're
themselves.
Talking, like, the Muslim Brotherhood, they intimately understand.
The Muslim Brotherhood is like
the Muslim Brotherhood is like
that's in America.
Yeah, like that's not even
like a prison thing.
Yeah, because like it's not even just a prison thing. Like
or maybe he doesn't mean like the Muslim Brotherhood is like the official organization, but more of like the Brotherhood of Muslims.
Yeah, like the entire reason why they've been so effective.
Society.
The entire reason why, like, Islamic terrorism has been so effective in Western societies is because it's not a monolith. They're all independent terrorists. Like, even when, like, there was actual terror organizations like Al-Qaeda still in the forefront of all this.
You have people independently radicalizing.
Yeah, they were operating as terror cells, but now what we're having is just chaos. It's like they're like the only,
people are just radicalizing without even any contact with any terrorists or like other jihadis. They just watch some videos online. They're like, I want to be a terrorist and blow some shit up, and then they just do it.
Told by their politicians and school teachers that their society is racist and hates their fucking.
No, I mean, like, not even most of them. They're looking at that shit like online and so on. It's not even really. I mean, like, don't just blame society. Blame the people.
Well, I mean, I would blame society because
I would blame society for creating the conditions.
Yeah, that's what I was about to say.
Made these people feel as if terrorism was a means to sort of like have their voice be heard.
These people, to
feel
like
important.
Like what, the Turkish guy in Canada?
I wouldn't say society itself is radicalizing them. We're giving them the ideas. I think that's ridiculous.
Give them a chance.
Yeah, I was about to say. So tell me, for instance, the San Bernardino shooting. How did society help radicalize those guys? The Pulse nightclub shooting. How did society help to radicalize?
It's not society
so that's
helping
what I'm
or
saying.
hurting anything.
It didn't radicalize them.
Yeah, like we
it
had kind of the
made
same
them
thought at the
able
same
to
time.
be radicalized.
Yeah, like it's this kind of situation is not something that would have happened in the 50s. It's not.
No.
It's not the kind of thing that would happen. I mean,
Although people kind of forget how shitty the 70s were and how many fucking terrorist attacks
it
there were.
could have happened in the 50s, but it wouldn't have
been completely memory hole.
It would have been. It wouldn't have been Muslim groups. It would have been Afro-American groups. The
70s more than 50s.
Yeah, like the main thing is that like when you blame society, we're saying where we're coming from, Garam, is saying like we're not blaming society, like saying, oh, it's society's fault that like beauty. Like we're not making the same kind of dumb arguments of like Western beauty standards or something else. We're saying that like these kinds of people wouldn't be blowing up buildings if they lived in situations where they're not susceptible to radicalization because of their genetics or anything, or because they're Muslims or whatever other dumb thing that people like the alt-right say. They are susceptible to that because they live in a shithole and they have nothing.
Yeah, and they have nothing else to live for.
Yeah, like
a lot of the time.
How many?
Or even if they have things to live for, it feels hollow to them.
Yeah, the vast majority of the time you run into mass shooters,
or they just have neurological or like psychological problems that just that
everyone ignored.
Just no one pays attention to. No one tries to treat.
Their parents tried to shove under the rug. Like
that's basically the San Bernardino right in a nutshell there.
Yeah, like
do you remember like the Texas bell tower sniper back in '66?
Yeah,
he had a brain tumor. No one ever fucking talks about it. He had a huge brain tumor in a part of his brain that controlled like impulse control and emotion. That's why he went crazy. He'd been begging doctors to help him with this. He'd been begging for medication and treatment for like more than a year leading up to him, just going crazy and shooting a bunch of people. And then himself, he in his will and like his testament or whatever, he tried to donate his money to a research organization to find out what was wrong with him, because he knew how he was feeling and how foreign his mental state was, to donate money to a research organization so it would never have to happen to other people like him. And he was just ignored. Doctors didn't see him, psychologists didn't see him, or if they did, they didn't like say anything was really wrong with him. The Veterans Association wouldn't help him.
Yeah,
nothing.
Because the Veterans Association doesn't help anybody.
Yeah, and then they tried to pretend he was just some lone wolf. No one could have seen this coming. It was no one's fault but his own. It was all his choice. No. Fuck you, people.
Yeah, that was what I was about to say.
You allowed this to happen by deliberate inaction.
That was what I was about to say.
And then you tried to cover it up.
Here's the horrible thing. For a long time, we had mass shootings, and the left was on the side of being against it, and they were constantly running articles. The media was constantly running articles about how it was video games, or it was this, or it was that. It was
mental illness and so on.
It was always some stupid fucking bunch of pearl clutchers that co-opted the whole thing to somebody else.
Like back when it was like actually like this is mental illness and we need to help it. Very quickly, because people realized that would require spending money to help these people, it became, we just need to ban X, Y, and Z so we don't have to spend like tax money to try and help all these people, because I don't want my tax money going to
more military industrial
or whatever.
Complex.
Yeah, no, let's just ban video games and like pretend that fixes the problem.
Yeah,
so we don't have to address like the horrible mental health issues.
It reached a crescendo of when we started having all of the fucking school shootings that the media was over-reporting.
And then they just keep reaching reaching for more and more retarded reasons,
and
because they don't want to admit the real reason anymore. Because it's no longer like...
Motherfucker, let me finish.
Sorry.
Like, it reached a crescendo to me when they started doing that, and there was, like, the best indicator of this was there was a fucking Cracked article. Cracked of all people, again, where they were like, oh yeah, the horrible truth. We don't know what causes mass shooters. They have nothing in common. Like, they were trying to portray it as, like, all mass shootings have nothing in common except for that they have easy access to firearms, therefore we need to ban guns. And it's like... Motherfucker, no. There's a very easy common thread between all of the fucking people who ever do these mass shootings, murder, suicides, whatever. They are fucking depressed, down and out, and have nothing to live for.
They have like otherwise obvious mental
problems
that
usually end up causing the former situation.
And then what's worse is you get shit like, you remember like that stupid like video where it's like the one kid and he's like, oh, are you so-and-so? And then in the background there's like some kid where you're getting ready for a mass shooting, you're not supposed to
Yeah.
notice it until the. That's fucking gay. That's fucking stupid because that just makes it so you're going to be treating people that are showing these obvious signs worse because you're treating them like they're crazy or there's like there's something seriously wrong with them or like they should just be outcasted even more. That's the kind of stuff that makes it so fucking hard for them to get help in the first place is because there's just this horrible fucking bias against anyone like admitting to mental illness or having mental illness.
This kid wears camouflage at school. He's into paintball. Obviously, he's gonna shoot up the place.
No, not even that, but like kids that are like legitimately like mentally ill or like acting out like that shit, and you have no fucking compassion for them. You're just like, oh, he's a potential school shooter. Just be afraid of him. Just like just treat him like he's gonna snap at any moment instead of trying to have compassion for him and figure out what's wrong and how you can help him. Just make him even more of an outcast and accelerate the process.
To change a
Like,
few details,
that kind of shit is just retarded.
I remember back in elementary school, I basically wound up hurting myself.
Yeah.
I got a nasty gash, and the entire administration thought I was like a fucking danger to myself and everyone around them.
Yeah.
They sent me to counseling, and the counselor came back and it's like, no, actually he's normal.
Yeah.
Like what the fuck are you talking about? The administration
Yeah,
was like,
there's
but
just...
there was this thing and he hurt himself, and it's like, yeah, and it was a complete accident.
Yeah, it's
He's like in 6th grade. He's still a kid. Kids do dumb things. They hurt
Yeah.
themselves. But just the administration couldn't wrap their heads around.
no, it's because
They pushed it, but they had to drop it because they literally had no fucking.
Yeah,
evidence of anything. They were so sensitive.
they're so idiotic about mental health now, and it's either they're crazy, you need to lock them up for their own good, or there's nothing wrong with them, just ignore it. They don't see the obvious rational middle ground, which is just treat them with fucking compassion and try and like actually help them as like a person. Treat them like a fucking human being.
The chances are for a
yeah,
lot of
just...
kids, especially in the education system, you're growing up. Things are going to be awkward, and you just got to make sure that you set them. And the kids are not stupid. You set them in the right direction. 9 times out of 10, the kid's going to set themselves straight.
Yeah, well, whatever. What were we talking about?
We got way off topic. We were
terrorist
talking
attacks.
about
terrorist
French
attacks
elections.
because we were
Yeah.
talking about the French elections.
Yeah,
Well,
yeah.
do we? I mean, we were talking about some pretty crazy shit and some mental health. So I'm going to use this as an incredibly obvious segue, TM,
All right.
into fucking. Let's talk about fucking Korea.
Korea mental health.
All right, so do we want to get the obvious one out of the way, or the fucking one that's been festering on the obvious half of this issue, or the other half that's been festering on 4chan for a while, and Garam probably doesn't know about it, and he'll shit a brick.
The feminazi, you mean?
The fucking feminazi.
Yeah.
Do you know
Do
anything
you
about
know-
this, Garam?
Do you know about the secret cult of women
That were
run
running South
Korea?
Korea?
That
For
they had
years.
the president impeached.
Brainwashed?
Yeah, they had brainwashed the fucking, like, one of them was the CEO of fucking, like, Samsung.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah, I heard
major multi-billion-dollar mega
Feminist
corporations.
cultists running a country.
Like,
behind the
that's
scenes.
actually not that much of an exaggeration of what they found out.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, but I haven't been catching too much news on how the impeachment's been going.
Yeah, because they don't want to talk about it. They're like,
No.
there's like so much of the country.
They don't want to enable people to be suspicious of shit because you can't.
Yeah,
do that.
like there's the obvious feminist faction that are trying to cover this up, and then there's like a lot of the people in the Korean government are extremely fucking ashamed of this and are trying to like prevent any outside news source from knowing about it because they're like, no, this is our issue, and like, oh man, it's bad. Apparently, right now they have her in solitary confinement and
she tried to kill herself, or someone tried to kill themselves.
yeah, she tried. Several of them tried to kill themselves because like she just she's just been spilling her guts.
Yeah.
So
No,
like,
it's because they there's illegal fucking like unlawful detainment of journalists trying to expose them.
This is great.
you know-
Huffington Post is trying to draw a correlation between
What?
Rousseau in Brazil and what's her face in
Le Pen?
Korea. No, in
Oh.
what's her face in Korea.
Oh.
That this is
Okay.
all
Yeah.
just interconnected misogyny.
Interconnected misogyny.
misogyny.
Dude,
Yeah.
what
yeah,
the
of
fuck are
course.
they talking about? How do they even, like, how the
Those
fuck
are
did
two
they...
completely unrelated incidents.
Is Huffington Post even real? Like,
Well,
is this all
this
just
is
a
something
big
we didn't-
prank that they've been playing on us for years? Are they just the Onion for
They're-
feminists?
they're
and no
the
one
real
noticed?
Onion.
White men
They-
should be denied the vote article recently.
No, yeah,
Oh.
that one was
Turned out-
hilarious because it
yeah.
turned out the author didn't even exist and they just completely fell for it and published it. And then in their retraction, they tried to say that the article itself was like quality and so on, and it was just that, like, the fact that someone was posting it as satire was like problematic because it was like a legitimate, like, you know, this is a legitimate point of view that should be taken
We're
seriously.
Hey, Swade, I know how long it took me to figure out that the author doesn't exist and something suspicious about that. How long did it take you?
Like 30 seconds.
It took me probably 2.5 minutes to go, wait one fucking moment. Who is this
Yeah.
person, by the way?
That
It
was
was
great because
like,
I
come on.
remember
Like,
I
less than
didn't even
5
get
minutes
to
to wait
read the
one
article before everybody had figured it out and was telling me, and they were like, "Dude, so like the article's writer didn't even exist. The name was actually a pseudonym. The account that
Yeah.
they have is now closed. Like nobody knows what the fuck was going on, and it's just."
Come on.
And it was just
I find it
Huffington
hilarious
Post,
that some-
like fucking running around with no pants on, trying to like fucking run damage
No, you're
control.
naked.
Some
Yeah.
some jackwagons on the internet figure it out in less than 5 minutes, and
Yeah.
Huffington Post just ran with it.
Well, because they're dumb hipsters that don't understand like internet culture, and they want to force it to change to suit them because they're too retarded to fucking learn it. This is exactly what they've been doing for like the past like years now, where it's like internet culture needs to change, gamer culture needs to change. It's just the same thing. They're just retarded. They don't
Our
understand
new
shit.
wave of minority retards that have no real
Yeah.
power and are just a bunch of bitchy cheaters that have cheated and lied and backstabbed their
Yeah.
way to like some sort of power
And now we found people that
are the
don't let us
arbiters of what
backstab
the
and
internet
cheat
should
them.
be.
Yeah, now we found people that don't let us backstab and cheat them, so they're a problem and they need to go.
Fucking
Our old tactics don't work anymore because people aren't
hang
falling
on,
for
hang
our
on.
bullshit.
Let me fuck up my hair so I can be Ancient Aliens guy.
Ah,
Corporatism.
corporatism.
I just
Fucking
love how all these.
trash.
Yeah, no. Yeah, HuffPo fucking embarrassing.
Fuck,
anyways,
HuffPo
Korea.
blows, dude.
Okay, so sorry.
I mean, everyone knows that. It's not
So
even.
what's
like-
this about feminist Illuminati?
Oh
Yeah,
my
feminist Illuminati.
Okay, so a lot of this was anecdotal shit that we got from a guy who literally called himself Gookanon on 4chan for a
Gookanon.
while until like everything he said was confirmed and there were riots in Seoul and everything. So everyone was like, "Wait a second, this dude was telling the truth."
And it was not in the fucking news at all. They were just completely trying to memory hole it.
They had fucking like several tens of thousands of people march on the fucking Capitol. And
I
the
remember
entire
100,000
country's
fucking
media,
arrested.
In March, I remember this.
yeah, and the
media
entire
did cover
country's
it, but they
media
got
was
all
like, we can't let anyone know about this.
No, it's fucking
I
crazy.
remember the media did cover this, but
Where were
when it
you when the
became-
North Korea is best Korea meme became real?
when it started to become clear about exactly what had happened? The chick had fled the country and what had been going on. The media just
Yeah.
buttoned their lips on it immediately, and I'm sitting there going, I remember having this thought of, are they buttoning their lips because they don't want to criticize a woman, or are they buttoning their lips because there's some political bullshit going on within
It's
Korea?
because
Like,
they're
if there's some
complicit
complete
in it.
Yeah, if there's some complete crazy political bullshit, they were in on it. They knew what was going on.
Or even
they
if
were
they're not
benefiting
complicit
from
in it, they don't benefit from this kind of anti-establishment like stuff.
It would almost be
continuing
like
to go on.
it'd almost be like if the news.
The media
what
is the
happened-
establishment now.
Yeah,
They don't
what
want to rock
happened
the
with
boat.
the I was about to say what happened with the U.S. election when it became clear that Hillary Clinton had cheated her way through the primary, and the media just tried to cover.
Bernie can still win, you guys.
Bernie can still. God damn it.
By the numbers.
Bernie versus Bush 2020.
God, no.
Or Jeb.
Bernie's back as independent, apparently. Considering the way the Democratic Party has gone, there is no way they're letting Bernie back in.
I'm not.
No, never.
God damn it.
Bernie should just go off and just tell the Justice Democrats, I'm starting my own party. And...
Yeah, just make the commie party.
He literally make his own party with blackjack and hookers. Like...
with black hookers. So they can cuck him.
I have to... Yeah, obviously. I need to see if I still have the fucking green text of this, because the whole saga actually took quite a while. Yeah, no, I think all like 7 of our viewers, of which 3 are us and like 2 are also us. And then 1 is Edgy Sphinx for some reason.
Yeah.
Hi.
I'm sure all of them are well aware.
Hey, dude, my offer is still good if you'll actually bother talking to me on Discord. Yeah. I also want to know, why the fuck are you watching us? We have we straight up have 7 subscribers, and you show up in our comment section to talk shit. Like, what the fuck?
Please be our podcast guest.
Yeah,
Mr. Edgy Sphinx.
Please like, comment, and subscribe.
To have you on.
We will. Very happy. Oh man.
Very happy.
Very happy.
See if you can get Sargon on at the same time, maybe. Or...
Oh man, yeah,
bring more of your friends.
That won't be a fucking retard slap fight.
Dr. Phil moment where we Sargon's on and we bring on Spino at the same time.
Oh yeah. Get Spino and Sargon. Don't let either of them know that they're both going to be on. Just start recording and then be like, just add them to the group, and then they're just in the voice chat and they're like, wait a minute.
So, okay, Korea, what the fuck's going on?
No, they're never.
Oh man, I'm finding the text, but I remember this now. I remember how glorious this was. So, like, do you know that dude that we used to deal with all the time on Baron's server? That was like the crazy fucking hyper alt-right dude. That
super unknown.
Not in the super unknown. Cryospark.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, he apparently has like a huge network of contacts on Twitter and everything. Like, apparently all the alt-right dudes do, because they think.
Wait like 5 seconds and they're all gonna comment on our video.
Oh, here we go. Yeah, this is the way we get fucking. This is the way we're gonna get. We're gonna get
noticed just by like having tons of people download our videos.
My God, they're censoring the fucking green text.
What?
There's cached images of it on fucking Google, but every time you actually go to the source, it's on a fucking site that's been taken down.
Fucking wow.
South Korean, yeah, it was President Park, and fucking Park Gen-hye. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right.
There's probably like a very obvious like American intelligence connection. They just like a lot of people don't.
40 million of them. It's just a bunch of fucking idiots at the CIA that like had no idea what was going on.
No, the CIA doesn't know shit.
Ever.
That's their whole problem.
Ever.
Everyone listens to them, even though they just bullshit their way through everything.
Oh yeah, every time I take any of these fucking links to the cache picture, it's always your connection is not secure. Here we go.
Or it's like Bay of Tonka, and they just politely admit very important details.
Oh man,
captain to be a fucking asshole.
like that time that the CIA was ordered
to fucking L.O.V.E. I found it. All the news sites and Reddit, all the Reddits and the news sites that were reporting on this have had the image taken, have any image and any confirmation taken down. Your connection is not secure. Blah blah blah. Like, not even just regular 404s. Like, straight up, you're not allowed to go to the site. But I found a cached image on a fucking League of Legends board.
Yeah.
Fucking League of Legends forum has fucking more political information than Reddit.
Discord can censor it for us.
Oh yeah.
They do that now.
Those don't come into effect until May 1st. We're fine.
Oh, it's fine.
No,
it's fine.
Yeah, so this is the first one. There's like more like this, Garam. But it was like there was apparently this like ancient aliens tier rumor, according to this guy. Is his words, not mine. That President Park was indoctrinated, being controlled by a handful of secret society called the Eight Goddesses, and they're ruling Korea from behind. Everyone thought it was a joke. A whistleblower confirmed it was real. The 8 most powerful Korean billionaire women formed a secret society and ruled Korea from behind the veil somehow. And they said, like, how they actually did it was one of them had known the president since she was a little girl and had groomed her to become the president. And they had brainwashed her to follow their decisions to the point where, like, they had found proof that they had been writing her speeches for her and shit.
Yeah. It's craziness.
Like, it's fucking nuts. And, like, the reason why this goes back to CryoSpark is when this first broke, I brought this to him because the dude, I was still talking to them at the time, and I was like, hey, you seem like you
this image.
You think you have a ton of, yeah, you do. You fucking spooked yet? You fucking spooked yet? Yeah, fucking Cryo, I thought he had a bunch of connections, or like at the time I thought he had a better head on his shoulders. And I'm like, what do you think of this? You heard about it? And he's like, yeah, it's bullshit. And I'm like, what? And he's like, yeah, dude, this was like just made up. And he like, he showed me that he had gone and asked some of his contacts on Twitter that were like a bunch of like South Korean weeaboos. And they were like, yeah, none of this is real. None of this actually happened. And they were like apparently they were just total shills. And, once again, alt-right information networks are fucking garbage.
Oh, look. She was indicted for what's her fucking name? Not the president, but the president. She was indicted for bribery. They're indicting her for bribery, not like fucking like conspiracy to unlawfully imprison like hundreds of fucking journalists and fucking treason. No, bribery.
Yeah,
she's being indicted for bribery.
All the news I'm seeing,
that's all the Western news. They're not talking about the fucking like actual like feminist Illuminati conspiracy.
The news,
no, it's bribery.
I'm flipping through the mainstream news. It's all from March 9th to March 12th, and then it just drops off the radar.
Yeah, no, this is being memory hold.
Yeah, they don't want to talk.
We're gonna get censored for this, I bet. That'd be great. Then we could claim, like, that we're part of, like, the counterculture and so on. And then we'd be like, YouTube censored our video. And
we get victim points.
Yeah. We can get Patreon money,
Oh, yeah. We'll get so much Patreon money.
Yeah. It'd be great.
So much Patreon money.
Please, YouTube, censor our videos.
All right, I think we've taken enough fucking pot shots at the rational skeptic community for now.
Sorry. Okay.
Hang on, wait, I forgot something. TM. All right, that feels better. Yeah, I mean, this is not the first fucking bit of craziness we heard about South Korea. You know about their insane fucking censoring policy that like came to light around Gamergate?
Yeah.
To everybody. Yeah, I know you know, but I'm wondering if Garam knows.
Not off the top of my head.
Fucking, they made up. I don't know if they made up or if they used. I think there was in like 2002 or 2003. Apparently, they had some. A South Korean pop star died in a car wreck because she was a drunk driving idiot.
Yeah.
And
they used this to pass a whole bunch of.
Hang on. Let's give our one genuine audience member a few seconds to think of a terrible joke involving female drivers, Asian drivers, and drunk driving. All right, there we go. Okay. So, like, she had died in this horrible car wreck that, like, she kind of brought on herself. And the government, it was a car wreck or some other accident. Like, it was like a victimless, not victimless, but it was an accident. And the government made up a story about how it was because she had committed suicide because she was being harassed by internet trolls or something like that.
Yeah.
And they used it as an excuse to make it so that you weren't that they made VPNs illegal, and you had to, if you wanted to use the internet had a curfew, and if you wanted to use the internet, you needed to sign in to your local ISP on an account to allow them to that would like allow them to actually give you internet, and your sign-in was your social security number. So, like, the government knew exactly what you were looking at every day, all the time, forever.
Yep.
And, like, You gotta wonder.
See, South Korea, like the whole reason, like, do you guys remember? And like, I don't mean like remember in the sense of like, I guess like you know, like you were there obviously, but like the whole like how Taiwan essentially became a dictatorship during the Cold War because they were so afraid of China.
Sway? Don't you guys know I'm a fucking immortal?
Oh,
wait, no.
yeah.
Hang on. What's my line? I'm a time traveler. I forgot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Remember when Taiwan was a dictatorship? That was me, Barry.
Yeah,
it was me.
That pretty much. Why? I don't even care about Taiwan. What does that have to do with anything? I just did it so I could say I did, Barry. I hate you, Barry.
Anyways, so Taiwan was a dictatorship for a while because they were fucking paranoid of China. So even though they were the Republic of Taiwan, they were a single-party fascist dictatorship because they were very worried about China fucking, like, you know, communist China invading them and fucking over all the Taiwanese people and so on. And also fuck commies, basically. And so they were super paranoid about that, and so the government used that as an excuse to concentrate power in like the hand of a single party and blah 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 and suspend elections and so on. That's basically South Korea.
Parties do.
It's South Korea, except South Korea was like 20 years later. Not even 20 years later. Like South Korea was like, yeah, I guess like 15, 20 years later.
And they're functionally a colony of the U.S. at the same time.
Yeah, and so the U.S. at this point knew better than to, you know, allow them to become an openly single party, like fascist military state, because they were, yeah, at this point they were a puppet state or like a client state of the United States, but we still needed them to become like very militaristic and you know, like directly or like not directly, like, but like indirectly controllable and very stable. And that meant basically ensuring that the government of South Korea has all sorts of control and, you know, power and so on that like they wouldn't have normally, they actually shouldn't really have on their own if we're pretending like that they're the capitalist, you know, freedom-loving alternative to North Korea. Just because we don't want them, like, we need them to just be like a military buffer against North Korea and by proxy China, because at that point North Korea was a proxy of China, the same way South Korea was a proxy of the United States. And so it's really, South Korea is just like you know, it's just Taiwan with the numbers filed off, except that Taiwan started allowing elections again and stopped being, you know, fucking like irrationally like restrictive, though of course we still, you know, just because like the one China policy, we're still fucking protecting them, and we have to, but
kind of, but I mean, since then their business practices have also basically made them into, ironically enough, China with the fucking serial numbers filed off.
Yeah, but South Korea is Taiwan in like the 60s, 70s, and 80s with the serial numbers filed off and pretending that they are not just like a military, like, you know, like they're an actual like free state.
We're not a proxy state, we promise.
Yeah. We're pretending that like your votes matter and so on, and they're not
South
just
Korea,
a proxy
best Korea.
of a different country. Yeah.
Plastic
I think that's why this kind of stuff happens, is like they're trying to maintain the control they have over the country because they've been preparing for a continuation of a war that never ended, that never actually happened. And by that I mean the continuation never happened, the war never ended, but it was like put on hold. But
that's maybe coming to an end very soon.
Yeah, and so I think
fucking
with the North Korean problem being increasingly likely to be solved soon, this may actually be for the better, because then South Korea no longer has to be like a fucking like buffer state so much. Though then China will be managing North Korea or some other shit like that, and so then they can maybe start going back to, you know, like actual like having like actual freedom instead of like the pretense of freedom and the pretense of privacy. But I think that it'll never really come out truly how all of this is really as much U.S. sponsored and like U.S. supported, potentially U.S. ordered as anything else. And like like especially like the 2003 thing, where it's like surveillance state kind of stuff. That was again that's the beginning of the war on terror. That's what that era was. It's the era of like the Patriot Act and like the beginnings of like PRISM. Though actually at that point, PRISM wasn't a thing yet, and they were trying to make some stupid fucking like
you were talking about last time,
early version of PRISM. Yeah, I'm still salty about that.
But
they had a perfectly good system. It was called Thin Thread, and that was great.
Yeah, Thin Thread, and then what's his dick is stupid as hell.
Fucking yeah. So then they put some new general in charge, and he doesn't like the fact that they already have a system that he wasn't there for them overseeing that's about to be put into place. So instead, he's going to throw it away and spend billions of dollars making a new system that doesn't work, just so he can have direct influence over it and get credit for it, and so get political.
I believe we have his name written down somewhere.
And give money to all of the fucking all of the government contractors that worked on it and so on.
Oh, I think we have it still in the chat. Let me search it.
What? Who? What?
Thin Thread. Indexing. Oh, God damn it! I don't need to see. Nope. I guess.
No, it was Michael Hayden.
Michael Hayden, that was the one. Yeah.
General Michael Hayden when he was put in charge of the NSA. I didn't know what you were asking for that.
You're apparently a blithering idiot.
What? Who? Michael Hayden?
Michael Hayden.
Yeah, he's just corrupt. He's also kind of, maybe you're right. I don't know.
Yeah, but
anyways,
as far as that, so Garam, what are your 2 cents on the whole North Korea? We're going back to fuck thing, because me and Suede already discussed it earlier this week, so we're kind of concise on that one.
Oh man. First off, things have changed. This is no longer the status quo in North Korea. The Chinese are backing off slowly, and they're starting to get more hostile towards North Korea. Potential of there being a war with North Korea is now, if China continues to back off the way they are in the next couple of years, yes, there very much is a distinct possibility that there could be a hot conflict with North Korea.
I wouldn't even say years.
The Chinese might even, I think there's a good chance the Chinese might say, you know what, fuck this. We really do not want the Americans, South Koreans, and maybe even Japanese jumping in and getting involved, because Japanese are becoming increasingly involved in the region. They're realizing they can't just sit behind
self-defense force.
Yeah, they're realizing they can't just sit back and watch everything in their region, that China's expanding militarily.
Yeah, I mean, they're going to have to amend their constitution if they want.
They've already amended the constitution.
They're going to have to amend it more. Like, even the stuff where like they currently have it is still, not sufficient, I think. Not to conduct like a proper coalition one.
Anyways, I can see if the situation continues to degrade, and they'll probably, what I imagine is going to happen is that there is going to be a secret summit between the Chinese, South Koreans, Americans, and Japanese, as well as maybe the Russians. They're going to sit down and they're going to hammer out a deal on regime change in North Korea, and I think that's coming in the next couple of years. And we will see a sustained effort by all parties involved to disrupt the North Korean regime. We're already starting to see the first moves, with China refusing to take coal shipments from North Korea, which is a significant source of revenue for their government to then turn around and import food. Nothing causes civil unrest like starvation.
Mm-hmm.
We know the military there is already emancipated. They can barely feed their own military. You can
that's why if you look at like photos of South Koreans, they're like the malnutrition has severely stunted their growth. They're very short.
You mean North Korea?
North Korea. What am I saying?
You said South Korea.
The only
Yeah.
thing that stunted the South Koreans' growth is StarCraft.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
North
that's
Koreans.
all of that Adderall abuse.
So, anyways, I anticipate within Trump's presidency there will be a armed conflict on the Korean Peninsula.
I almost
and at
feel
this
like
point,
within
it's-
the year, or like maybe next year, 2018.
we may see initially we're probably going to see a repeat of what happened. I think was it late Bush or early Obama? Probably late Bush, where they bombed the nuclear site in North Korea.
Yeah,
That didn't happen.
it
What?
didn't happen.
Did that happen?
That didn't happen.
I don't remember that. Maybe
searches
that happened.
intensify.
I know they tried to blow up all like the Iranian and so on stuff.
I seem to have this mental note of Bush, I think it was, bombing. This would have been years and years ago. But anyways, I can distinctly see that as being a course of action.
Oh, of course, the Huffington Post is trying to say that North Korea, like, attacking them would be a bad idea because they have nuclear weapons, but they have no delivery system. So,
Well, they do have a delivery system. It's called
their
the
delivery
conventional
system
bomber.
can't reach us. It's the furthest they could reach would be like mainland China, possibly Japan, or like, you know, obviously like Siberia, parts of Russia. They can't launch across the Pacific by any means. I don't know why they're trying to push this narrative that war with North Korea is a bad idea, because the longer we let it go on, the more nuclear weapons and delivery systems for those nuclear weapons they're going to have. A preemptive strike is the most logical thing in this scenario. I don't know why Huffington Post and so on are going to be like, no, don't attack North Korea. It's fucking stupid. I don't know. But
there'll probably be a initial pushback, and that would probably be the pushback is there is a strike carried out by the Americans on their nuclear development facilities.
yeah, but we know where all of their nukes are already.
Yes,
We have that intelligence.
We'll blow them up, and then we'll see what Kim Jong-un does, and chances are he'll react poorly. And if the Chinese don't like his reaction, we'll have to see. I flip.
Yeah, I mean, we've already moved all like the THAAD missile systems into South Korea. So
we'll see what they do, because the Chinese might step back and say, you know what, America, South Korea, and Japan, you deal with this motherfucker, because we know what's going to happen once you quote unquote liberate North Korea. You're going to have to pump trillions of dollars into reconstruction.
No, it's not even reconstruction. It's like, don't reconstruct that shit. The problem is rehabilitation. You have 20 million people
who have been brainwashed their entire fucking natural life to hate the South Koreans.
No, it's not even brainwashing. It's these people have been malnutritioned, or like malnourished, like they've been suffering from malnutrition and mass starvation for generations. These people have like not all of them obviously, but so many of them just have the mental capacity of a medieval peasant. They are fucked in the long term
peasants.
For their lives. You have people that are just not going to be able to like function in modern society in a lot of ways.
So the point is, it's going to be a massive.
You have like the massive like torture prisons. And
it's
3 generations of punishment.
Strain on the South Koreans' resources. They know it.
Yeah.
It's going to cripple the South Koreans for a generation.
That's assuming that South Korea takes them. But if China takes them, I don't really like their chances there either.
That's the other
Chinese
possibility.
the Chinese Communist Party would be like, no, kill them all, so we can hide their crimes and therefore hide our crimes by proxy.
And you know,
yes,
and
that's the other distinct possibility.
Organ harvesting.
All of the organ harvesting, that too. The Chinese love to harvest organs.
The other distinct
Fucking
possibility
assholes.
is that the Chinese go, well, wait one moment. Let's say the South Koreans, the Americans, and the Japanese kick North Korea's ass and they take over. That means now we've got U.S. military bases on our border. We don't want U.S. military bases on our border. So the Chinese might just look at everyone and go, fine, we'll do it our
If you consider the
fucking self.
history of like the last 100 years, if wouldn't China just kind of shit their pants at that idea? Just even like even just conceptually, the idea that the Japanese and the Americans are right there, like
Yeah.
oh fuck.
Yeah, no, it's this is going to be a bad like next 8 years for China, and I am assuming
they've been
I
having a
am
pretty
assuming
bad
Trump
last
wins
8
his
years.
second term. It's come on.
They've been having a pretty bad last day. Fucking
Yeah.
And then we need to get that picture of Trump just going China and like the women
China.
fucking like throwing their tops off.
Yeah, it's even if they occupy North Korea, they suddenly have a border with South Korea anyways, and South Korea is like obviously a U.S.
Yeah, but
proxy.
they don't
It's
fucking
worse
care about
because-
North Korea. It's just a buffer state, and they'll
Yeah,
run it.
it's going to be a
They'll-
buffer
it-
state, but
they
that still
won't
means
officially,
that
they
still
wouldn't
means that war could be
over North-
declared,
They
and then
wouldn't
like you know,
officially take
declared.
over North
war,
Korea. They just kick Kim
war
Jong
can
Un
be
out.
war
They'd install
declared.
their. They just kick Kim Jong Un out. They'd install their own personally decreed upon
Yeah.
dictator, and they'd run it like a puppet
But
state.
then,
even more so.
But then the problem with that is that still leads to China being like officially, like the puppet state, or like unofficially, but like very obviously in a very like in a very recent sense, and that means that if and when shit goes down with North Korea again, and it will if they're doing stupid shit like that, because China loves to provoke people, and so will their puppet state, then that'll just lead to a war with China by way of like the new North Korea fucking with South Korea.
I don't think the new
And
North
China
Korea,
fucking around in the South China
I
Sea.
think they would specifically put in a government within North Korea
That they would then not have influence with?
No, that they specifically would not fuck with the South Koreans like the North Koreans did. They would
Maybe.
start-
I mean, I don't really have that confidence in them. They're fucking around with Taiwan and
I
the
don't.
Philippines.
Yeah.
You know,
I
know,
mean,
it's
I
Indonesia,
I'm not,
Vietnam.
right, yeah. Like, Swade, you are kind of steamrolling over him, but like
Sorry.
Garam, he does have a point. Like Swade, and by extension me, though to a much lesser extent, have like kind of followed China's antics a lot, and they just have like. Say what you will about how, like, you know, modern, or like the West's democracies have been operating, Britain, the U.S., Canada,
Like retarded,
and
but
everything.
not
But like
that retarded.
the Chinese government is a fucking bunch of like out of touch communist retards and a perpetual
Yeah.
circle jerk. They
A perpetual competitive circle jerk.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I was about to say they're constantly locked in a death struggle with one another.
A circle jerk to the death.
Yes.
and it's
Communist Party.
just communism. need to have that quote somewhere. Just get somebody with one of those communism shirts, and it just says on the back, "A circle jerk to the death."
Anyway, what were we saying?
They killed the peasantry. They killed the elites. It's just a
Yeah.
giant murder spree.
Yeah, but like,
Anyways, yeah, you basically you've been following them, and you feel like what I'm suggesting is
well,
not plausible.
no, it's not that it's just not plausible so much as it's like it's something that I really would not like to see happen, because I'm absolutely sure that like whatever if the Chinese get to be the ones running the show on this one, because that's what it might be kind of shaping up to. Me and Swade talked about this earlier this week with some of our other friends, and we were talking about how it looks like that the U.S. and the rest of the other powers involved might be acting as a support force for the Chinese. But, like, we really hope that doesn't happen, because, like, in all likelihood, the Chinese, if they're put in charge, they're going to fuck something up.
They're gonna fuck so many things up.
And, like, I mean, China currently already is, like, a dumpster fire. And
Yeah.
it's like watching a skyscraper collapse, but not like 9/11 collapse. I mean, like, just like a staged demolition, except filled with homeless people. Where it's just floor by floor.
It's
it
like
keeps getting
an Idiocracy,
preposterously worse.
where they have those two skyscrapers chained together, leaning against each other to support each other.
Because
and then,
they have no
just-
architects.
They just start falling over slowly.
Yeah.
China is that.
Like that's functionally their economy right now. We're just it's a train wreck. We can't look away. It's morbidly entertaining.
And then they blew up a mountain range, so now the Gobi Desert is getting larger.
Yeah.
You know, and then they have like smog storms in all of their major cities, so you can't go outside without a breath mask.
What isn't it? One of the tributaries of the Yellow River that runs through Beijing looks like fucking sweet sour sauce right now.
Yeah, and like
because they put so much fucking industrial waste in it.
All of their agricultural land is desertifying because they blew up a mountain range to make more agricultural land.
All their food now has heavy metals in it, which is causing all sorts of health issues.
I just can't get over that. It's so stupid. You blew up the mountain range to make farmland, and now the desert on the other side of the mountain range is going to destroy all your farmland. How are you like, come on. This is like a parody.
The one country in
government.
the world that needed more geology majors, and they fucked that one up too.
It's just like, and just, yeah, and then all the fucking like pollution and so on. China is just fucked. And like I've always just said they're a paper tiger, but now they're a paper tiger sitting in the rain, and yeah,
in the acid rain that
why
they
the fuck
made.
Do you think they're taking over the South China? Why the fuck do you think they're taking over the South China Sea? I think they're looking at the forecast for the next 10 years. They're realizing they're going to be facing a lot of instability and realizing they need as much political leverage as
it's gonna be wonderful. It's gonna be wonderful, isn't it, Garam? When the second migrant crisis happens and it's like the West Coast,
Chinese.
the West Coast, the North Coast of Australia, most of Indonesia, Indochina, Malaysia, and like Pan-Oceania, and then the fucking West Coast of the U.S., the West Coast of South America, the West Coast of Mexico and Central America, and the West Coast of Canada especially, is just the North Coast of Australia and the West Coast of Canada especially, out of all of those, are just going to become the fronts on the second fucking migrant crisis, and it's just millions of Chinese people fighting with Muslims over who gets to have what.
Running away from fucking China. And, it's especially going to be funny because it's going to be like, you're gonna have like instead of like people taking boats, it's gonna be like the conquest of Kublai Khan in fucking like in fucking like reverse now.
Yeah,
it's not even that. It's like instead of like drowning on boats, they're gonna try to march into India through like fucking Tibet or something.
Oh yeah, that's gonna be great.
And you're just gonna have like countless laughing Tibetans being like,
not even laughing Tibetans, just like the fucking like. There's gonna be like some kind of like there's gonna be like Gurkhas running around sitting on like mountains of skulls in Nepal somewhere, just being like,
we waited so long for our revenge.
We finally. How long have you fucking idiots tried to take Nepal? Fucking the Dalai Lama is a racist. The Dalai Lama is a terrorist cult leader.
And people wonder why the Chinese citizenry, who can, are getting all their fucking money out of China and then dumping it into real estate.
China versus the new Viet Cong.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people in China, if you start following the numbers, start looking at the stats about where the Chinese are moving their money, so many Chinese investors are getting their money the fuck out of China.
Yeah, they
have
know
a
it's
massive confidence issue. They know this is bullshit, and that's why you're seeing cities
because they're capitalists and not communists.
And Toronto and L.A. and Seattle are just being drowned by this endless wave of Chinese investors. They want to get the fuck out of China. They want to get their money the fuck out of China. You know what? If a house in Vancouver costs $10 million, they're happy because that means they can get $10 million the fuck out of China.
Yeah.
I think Canada in particular is insane of how it's solved.
I think it's just because Canada's like not really on bad terms with them as much as the US is.
I think it's more to do with Canada is so fucking socialist. Everyone.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Is that they're on better terms with China. They're not as anti-commie as the US
let me put it this way: open up a newspaper from Vancouver.
Yeah,
and you'll very quickly.
And it's all in Chinese.
No, it's not all in Chinese. Every ad is real
Yeah.
estate. Half the articles are about real estate. It's the only thing people in Vancouver talk about. Real estate.
It's free real estate.
Everyone's tripping over themselves to do real estate. Trillions, billions, if not trillions of dollars are being made. Then you look at the election that's currently going on in British Columbia, and politicians don't really talk about real estate.
Yeah.
Because you notice something very quickly about their donations to the political
Yes.
parties. They're all coming from the real estate agents, the real estate council.
Don't talk about us. We'll pay you money.
The same thing with the unions. Trade unions, I think, are actually number one on a lot of these, the Liberals and the NDP. The Liberals kind of being basically your centrist leftist party. Corporatists, they've ruled BC politics for 24 years now, or so, 18 to 24 years. They've been the uncontested dominant party. Like the only other party that's really held seats in the legislature there was the NDP. Who, if you think Canadians can get any more leftist, you haven't met the NDP. They're, if the Liberals are socialism light, the NDP are socialism medium, and there actually is a communist party. No one cares about them, so let's just move on. But anyways, it's all people in Vancouver talk about. I don't know about Toronto, but everything about the newspapers there. But from talking to people living in the Toronto area, it's all they talk about there, and everyone knows what's going on. But the politicians won't talk about it. They refuse to talk about it.
Yeah. We need to get like, I don't know. We need to get some kind of like, how should I put this? We need to get like some kind of like cross-channel thing going with like more, I don't know, diverse perspectives. Like we need to like start like interviewing like actual like, you know, people like in like Hong Kong, or not Hong Kong maybe, but you know, people that are like in other countries maybe.
So many of them are like it's kind of like just so many of them in countries that offer like that would be in countries where we can get a really good perspective on the whole thing are like censored to hell.
Or like probably not like that, but like maybe like someone from France.
Yeah,
I know some French people.
We have.
We talk about like Le Pen with them.
Yeah, I don't know too many Frenchies. We like. I don't. All right, I'll be honest with you, and I'm not just saying this because he was a guest on our show when we like really needed a third host. But Tyler Durden is like the only German guy I've ever talked to that wasn't like a piece of shit.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was one of our guests before you became a permanent third guy.
I still talk to him on occasion.
Yeah, I wish I had more time to hang out with him. It's just I got too many projects going on. He's a cool dude, but like almost every other German I've ever talked to aside from him has always been like ridiculously ill-informed and then totally self-obsessed. And like he was like he was a breath of fresh air, to be honest with you, Tyler.
Well, it's also this sort of weird German superiority/inferiority complex I can't fucking figure out. Like, their country's going to hell. It's obvious they're going to hell, but so many Germans I see just a complete head in the sand syndrome.
At least they're not Scandinavians.
Well, the Scandinavians are actively hostile towards anyone who tries to point it out. It's like deviating from the politically correct answers to like fucking religious heresy over there.
Yeah.
Yeah. Remember Casper?
Yeah, that was some shit.
Okay.
Yeah. So Casper, just to give you a quick rundown, Casper was a 16-year-old Swedish kid. That's all you need to know, really.
That's all I need to know.
Like he wasn't a social justice warrior, but he ruthlessly defended his country.
He was absolutely certain that Sweden was uncucking itself, and next election they'd vote in a right-wing party. And no. I'm looking at it, it's like, well, they might be growing, and they might eventually win an election, not next election.
No.
Fuck no. Maybe the election after that, or the election after that, but it's going to be at least 10 years before they can build up enough support, unless shit gets really, really bad. But this is one of the problems that seems endemic within socialism in the West, or at least the welfare states we've built up, is people are completely ill-informed. in particularly, because they're so well looked after by the government. It seems weird that, to be fair to the welfare state, it's been a massive success and really made the citizenry a lot more comfortable. But it's clear that while it's had in the grand time scale, a short-term success, in long-term, it's eventually going to kill its host, because the populace is, how to put this? They're not angry enough.
Nope.
I was watching just today, it was the Dave Rubin podcasting. He was talking to this political philosopher. It was talking about a French fellow, a French philosopher, whatever. He went to the Americas in the early 1800s and wrote a book about his experience learning about Americans and how they practice government. And he talked about something that was rather interesting, and it was basically the concept. He was concerned about European politics, talking about, I think he called it soft despotism. And what he saw in America was the federal government was, at the time, not very powerful. So when it came to getting stuff done, it was the government of the local community that would come together and get her done. If they needed a bridge, if they needed, he gave an example of a church, but you could also imagine all sorts of civil works projects. The local government would be able to handle it, and they would. And they wouldn't go to the federal government. And he was the comment was, well, naturally, when the federal government wants to grow its power or win elections, it goes to the populace and goes, well, why don't I, for example, build you that bridge? So not only are you ceding, from the populace's perspective, it's great because now someone else is putting in all the work to build the bridge. Because building a bridge is, well, even by 1800 century standards, quite complicated. You can imagine how complicated it is today if you were saying building a bridge for a 4-lane road. That's going to be a pretty substantial engineering project for a city. You're going to need to bring in all sorts of experts, from geologists to study the riverbank, to engineers to actually design the bridge, to experts in construction. It's too technically complicated of an undertaking for a local government. They need to go to a more advanced form or more developed form of government that has those kinds of resources, because those just aren't available to them. But anyways, he was talking about this process of ceding more power to bigger and bigger government eventually leads to a situation where the average person can't look after themselves and are dependent on government on a technical level, because the world's too complex and they don't know how to deal with it. Whether it's where we're reaching now in terms of technological capacity, where the amount of specialization required to understand one particular aspect of infrastructure, for example, to continue the bridge example, is simply is such a ridiculous level of specialization. It's not accessible to the average person or municipality, and you have to go to state or federal levels of government. You're basically giving those levels of government power, and you quite literally are powerless because you don't have the knowledge to do it yourself. You don't have the capacity. So you get this sort of soft despotism because those governments have complete control over you.
Yep. No, I'm not so sure on how soft that despotism is.
So it was interesting that this was early 1800s. People were already talking about government getting too big, and I'm not quite. Did we get on to this? Oh, right, yeah, the Germans and the Swedes, and something that seems very endemic within those societies is a culture of institutions. They seem to love their institutions. And this is very endemic of the governments, because everything's being taken care of by somebody else. What are you worrying about?
At the
Until
same time, you have, most German society, not German society, but like the German economy, and you look at it, basically feeds off of the economies of the rest of Europe.
Yeah, so you've got this weird situation with the average person because they don't have to worry about what their government's doing because it's so complex that they don't understand it, but you know what, it just gets done and they don't have to think about any of it. They're completely in the dark. Even though the government has complete control over them, they're completely unawares. And they don't have the knowledge necessary to make a informed vote on a technical level. It would be like trying to understand your local city. Imagine trying to understand your local municipality's budget. What do you think, Paul? Well, why do you think we're talking about post-truth politics? Because the average citizen can't understand the technical details of all of this, and nor should they. People study finance for years in university just to make heads or tails of this, and then it still takes years of experience to be able to make informed decisions. You expect the average citizen to understand any of this shit? Well, Europe, if you think America is bad for this, welcome to Europe. Europe's 10 times worse. No wonder they don't have a fucking clue what's going on. No wonder the politicians can say whatever the fuck they want and get elected. The average person simply doesn't have the frame of reference anymore. That makes you wonder what's the point of democracy anymore.
Well, please don't start on the democracy is a lie shit. There's
That.
There's been a lot of that going around.
I mean, the whole point of like a republic, with like especially constitutional republics, is the Constitution is a democratically agreed to social contract, and the republic, constitutional republics, are only supposed to have the powers specified within their constitution, because those are the powers which were democratically given to them by the social contract explicitly. And so generally you have like constitutionalists where the idea of a government passing laws that aren't allowed by the Constitution explicitly requires constitutional amendments. And like I think that's maybe a lot of like the difference between the U.S. and other countries as well, is you have like implicitly the government just isn't allowed to like do things that it doesn't like have explicit permission to do. And a lot of like the mindset of like people in America, you don't have the idea of like, we're going to do what's best for you because you don't know it, because the implicit idea is that we do know best. Like that is a part of our government, is we're just telling we're telling the government what's best, and then they do it. Whereas with a lot of other countries, I think it's we're electing people that know better than us, and then they tell us what to do.
Yep, and then there's I don't know. Remember, you and I had was it on here that we had a discussion about Swedes and Nordics and tall poppies?
No, it's just
not
the tall
Nordics,
poppy thing.
Yeah, not Scandinavians. Yeah, like it's just that to a lesser extent that kind of hits most of Western and Central Europe.
Yeah, it's especially just concentrated in like the Germanic and like Scandinavian areas. It's just kind of a thing there. Of course, it's spread. And it's a remnant of like the aristocracy and the monarchy and like that kind of like serf mentality. I think, like I don't mean to be insulting with that, but that's just how I view it. It feels like a sociological remnant of like where they've just traded the aristocracy and like the monarchy for the bureaucracy.
Yeah, pretty much. But I mean, it just reminds me, like another terrible segue, fucking all of the drama shit going on. A lot of that has to do with some of the Euros on YouTube right now. Fucking
butthurt Europeans.
Yeah, more specifically, Kraut and Sargon.
Yeah,
because Sargon is still ass damaged about this whole Spino
he is
drama.
So goddamn butthurt over nothing. He is so mad that anyone would dare oppose him behind his back and not give him the opportunity to shit all over them with his much more popular channel.
Yeah,
he just cannot handle the
channels because he's got like 5 of them now.
Yeah, he cannot handle the fact that he was denied his greatest advantage in meme warfare. He is so ass hurt. It is
Yeah.
really, really amusing.
And then, like, I mean, he had that whole stream where it was him covering his ass on that whole thing where he just summons all of his allies, and it's like, oh yeah, we have to fucking...
Look at all of the social capital I have. No one can beat me.
Yeah.
Don't you dare try and ignore all this, all this meme currency I'm going to throw at you by just doing things without telling me.
And I'm just like,
I'm going to force you to accept this money is valid.
It was yeah, pretty much. And it was pointed out to us recently by a commenter that we were in debate in. That like the one guy who comments, it's like our one fan.
Yeah.
I believe
you know who you are.
Yeah, A.Lom. I believe he might have been. I think he is Alt-Kebab, who's like a guy we used to interact with on Baron's server. Me and Garam did back in the day. I say back in the day, but this was like only a few months ago. But he did point out like I haven't looked that far into Spino as much as they have, and I mean Spino has kind of like from what I've seen from what was pointed out, yeah, Spino has flip flopped on a lot of stuff. All of that said, and I mean, if eventually we have to fucking like shit all over Spino, so be it. But for now, like I'm not saying we shouldn't shit on him. I'm just saying that like he did still have a point that Sargon was being a fucking tool. And
well, Sargon has been being a tool for a long time.
Well, you and I have had beef with him since fucking Gamergate, so...
Yeah.
But like, as far as that whole thing goes, like, I'm just convinced most of them, like, are just retarded at this point, because that whole community drama...
Not even retarded like us, but like the bad kind of retarded.
Like the bad... Yeah, because there's such thing as good retarded, I get it.
Yeah, we're the amusing kind of retarded.
Yeah, they come watch our... Yeah,
You mean like us?
Yeah, like us.
People
like, we
watch
have
our videos to make fun of us.
Yeah, we have big famous YouTubers like EdgeCast come over and be like, you guys are retarded, this is great.
Yeah.
Yeah, I bet. But like, just like...
Don't remember to like and subscribe. Don't remember to like.
Don't fucking like and subscribe to us, you asshole!
No, don't do it.
Get out!
Fuck you.
Leave.
You're not allowed.
No, but like
we only have viewer count. We don't have likes. We don't have subscribers. That's just how this channel works.
Yeah, this channel, it's a fucking ghost in the machine. All right, just leave us alone. No, but as far as like the whole community drama went thing, like that stream specifically was such a slog because he had all of his friends come on there, and I was convinced more than anything that they're just fucking morons, because like they somehow on that stream, most of them just then kind of like actualized that they were a fucking circle jerk. Yeah. They were like, oh yeah, well we have conspired before, like when we were doing it at the AIU, and it's like,
wait
no!
a minute.
You guys have been conspiring about everything. You support one another. You constantly are on each other's channel. You are donate to each other's Patreon. You are constantly fucking like advertising one another. And then now you're saying, "Oh no, but that's not conspiring." Creating a Discord where we have privileged channels where only we can talk is not conspiring. We were not working together until someone like AIU came along to piss us off. No. That like it was only conspiring when when we needed to go like collectively like fight EdgeSphinx. It was only conspiring when we needed to collectively shit on AIU. It was only it's like it's not conspiring when we're constantly fucking like networking with one another.
That's fine.
And it's like, man, you guys are fucking retarded. And like just Kraut specifically, I'm just sure that he's just a generic German arrogant retard at this point, because not only just the quality of his videos have gone to shit, where it's like he has to constantly go on about Islam, where we already covered this earlier, that like he doesn't fucking pay attention to any kind of contextual facts.
No,
he doesn't pay attention to any context for any of the statistics he gives, and then
he doesn't infer from statistics. He just quotes them.
Yeah, Kraut and T, the German Nate Plastic, but but like the worst thing is this: the new podcast he did, The Western Front, is fucking garbage. Him and Naked Ape just going on there, like, just flailing their fucking retard brains around, like, because Naked Ape, like, to his credit, will try to, like, come up with a more nuanced explanation for some of the stuff that they say, and then Kraut is just tries. Kraut's just like, nah, fam, it's the Muslims again. They're the reason why the economy's crashing and shit like that. And
He's just that fucking guy that just sticks, like, the fucking meme picture of, like, the
No, if,
bicycle and the
if
stick.
only, yeah, I was supposed to, if only we had a
Fucking
picture of
Muslims.
Kraut's face, we could just put him on the ancient aliens guys, and it just goes Muslims.
except
No,
we do.
it's... Yeah, oh, well, yeah.
We do. It's just I don't want to engage in that because that picture was a dox by AIU, so it's kind of it would feel dirty. I'd feel dirty doing that.
Just flash it for, like, one frame in the YouTube video.
Yeah, just throw that shit up there. Like, I have principles and
Not
morals
right now.
and
No, not right
questionable,
now, just later,
questionable
or, like,
ethics.
some random point.
I have
Yeah.
easily questionable ethics, but still ethics nonetheless. But
Yeah.
fuck that. One
Yeah.
microsecond of keckery.
A single frame.
Yeah, a single
memes.
frame of memes. But like as far as like the Western Front, it made me feel bad because like they had an episode where they had fucking Styx on, and Styx is just kind of like, okay.
You guys are retarded.
Yeah, like he like just
He's
try.
just
He's
just
playing
saying,
diplomat.
okay, so they shut the fuck up.
Yeah, just playing diplomat most of the episode. But
That
like,
is,
like,
I need to go watch that.
he laughed and was having fun at some points, and then at other points it was obvious he was like kind of playing diplomat. But the
Yeah.
fucking worst, and I have to talk about this because I actually live here. The motherfuckers had a professor of economics on they had an interview with a professor of economics on one of their episodes to talk with him about anarcho-capitalist economics and everything. And he was a fucking professor at Loyola here in New Orleans, and I'm like, oh man, you guys fucking fucked up. Because it's like Loyola is like the most 2-bit shitbag fucking like roll my family into a ditch because no one gives a fuck anymore. Ivy League education shithole you could imagine. Everyone, like nearly everyone that has ever gone to that school has just been in some way, shape, or form a piece of dog shit. And like because like it's like every other, like I said, 2-bit Ivy League school. It's like every other 2-bit Ivy League school. It's actually a subpar college educationally speaking, but it's still an Ivy League. It's considered an Ivy League education because everyone who goes
all
there,
the fucking networking.
yeah, just all the connections they make. So they're like, oh yes, I'm going to go here because it's a school for rich kids to hang out with other rich kids. Even though it's not really a school so much as it is a fucking day camp for adults.
Loyola, we are not Tulane.
Yeah, pretty much. They might as well
Yeah.
just be saying that's like, because Tulane can be almost that snooty, but Tulane also actually has like a law school and tons
Yeah.
of medical programs and actually gives a fuck. Like, they have fucking hospitals and shit. Fucking Loyola's just sitting there being like, like
Money.
we tried. And they have a fucking
There was an attempt.
One of their fucking like they have a professor on there who took an interview with their fucking dinky little podcast. Like, I mean, that's hilarious coming from us. But I mean, like, relative to like other people, they have kind of like a small podcast, and they get an interview with this professor who's willing to go on there, and he's like, "Let me tell you about how I became an anarcho-capitalist. See, I used to be friends with Bernie, and then I met Ayn Rand." And it's like just tells this made-up story about how he went to fucking like some dinner at like
he met Ayn Rand.
he met Ayn Rand and like all of these other figures.
I met her and she instantly converted me
Yes,
to anarcho-capitalism.
yes,
Old
that's
is
the
this
fucking
guy?
story.
She baptized me right
They
there
met
with
they met them
with
at a
money.
dinner, and they got invited to the dude's house, and they had a personal conversation, and after he left he was like, I had to do some rethinking, and I realized that I was an anarcho-capitalist. Like, some shit
she
like that.
died in '82.
I mean, he's a
guy's
professor
old.
himself. The dude's old.
Yeah, he's old. Yeah.
He's an old fucking dork.
Yeah.
I've run into
yeah.
enough of professors like that. I like to.
She just took like a glass of wine and just drew
I need to-
like a fucking
It's been
anarchy symbol on his forehead, and he was baptized.
Yeah, I get it. It's actually like a cult of Baphomet, except instead of revolving around like eating children, you eat money.
What would that be? A Plutovore? Something like that?
Plutovore.
Plutovore?
Yeah. God damn it. The cult of plutocracy. But, fucking, like, I have to rewatch it again. Maybe we might as well do a love scene at some point where we're just like, this is shit. But, like, every episode starts off good, and then it's like, I'm like, oh man, Kraut and Naked Ape, this is gonna be fun. like initially,
No.
and then like by halfway through, I'm like, this is fucking stupid, and then
it's mixing like two good things, or well, I wouldn't say two good things, but like two
one
things.
kind of good thing and one thing that looks like it's good.
It's like mixing two things, and then those things are worse because they're mixed.
It's covering it's covering marzipan with baking chocolate, and then
Yeah.
realizing that the baking chocolate is still chalky and the marzipan is actually just almond paste.
It's like
And you're like,
you,
fuck.
You take a saltine cracker and you put like mayonnaise on it. Then you have the Kraut and Naked Apes stream right there.
Right.
So
Mayo on a
who's the cracker and
saltine.
who's the mazepan?
Nobody cares. That's
The
the
joke
answer.
is that they're really
Who
white.
cares?
I
I
should
don't know.
probably use another euphemism to make this clear. Who's the pitcher and who's the catcher?
Does it
That's a
matter?
good question. I mean, he is German.
Yeah, Kraut is German and Naked Ape is gay, so we could.
Yeah.
This is also a hard one to figure out.
Oh,
It's,
he is gay.
I'm
You're
going to
right.
go with Naked's the pitcher and Kraut's the catcher. Got
Yeah,
it.
Maybe.
I don't know. Naked Ape, like
Anyways.
I've disagreed with him before, but I think he seems to be like one of the only YouTubers that's kind of dynamic in how he operates. Where like he started off as his own independent thing, then he identified as alt-right, and then he left
Yeah.
the alt-right, and like
How I left the alt-right. He made a whole video about
he
it.
didn't even did he? I think he might have.
No, I'm making that up.
But like and now he kind of talks about how like the alt right has gone full retard, and I'm like, oh man, he noticed. Like that's what kind of like makes me like him. The thing that makes
Yeah.
me not like him is the fact that he calls himself Naked Ape, and every single one of his pictures is an ape that still obviously has his fur on. So you fucked up there,
He's
boyo.
wearing a suit too.
Yeah, he's wearing a suit. Like motherfucker, why?
It would be forgivable if it was just an ape.
This is
Man,
just
like-
false advertising. Come
Yeah.
on.
He could have like a tie. Maybe I don't think that counts as clothing. That's an accessory. You have an ape with no clothing except like a tie, maybe like a hat. That would be fine.
That'd be
know
like
what's
finding
ever
out that Krauten tea is like actually Austrian, is instead of British German, he's like
He's not
Austrian
even
Swiss.
a kraut. Yeah.
Yeah, he's Austrian Swiss, which is that's something too. Kraut, like I don't understand.
Turns out
'cause
he's Polish.
He might be. I mean, I know he's apparently like super duper Slavic
Yeah.
because he's like super duper Prussian, but like
Nose.
fucking what? Like there's a YouTuber I started following called Rage After Storm that
Yeah.
her content's okay, but like she's apparently like German Swiss British, like German Swiss British hyphen between the German and the Swiss, and like she speaks English way better than Kraut does, like speaking like of his accent.
Yeah.
So I mean, I'm an American, so I'm not allowed to talk about speaking English, apparently.
No, fuck you. American is the original English.
No. Look, man, the Europeans have a lock on the meme that Americans don't know how to speak English, so therefore, I have to follow the memes.
No.
But
I reject your memes.
and substitute
your
own.
memes end here.
Yeah, I guess. Okay, fucking Jack. But like as I don't understand him at all. I bet one day we'll eventually shitpost hard enough that he'll actually like to deign to fucking give a response video to something that
I mean,
we've done.
that would imply he would like know
In
that
like
we exist.
yeah, this will happen in like 5 years when neither of us are like when he's no longer relevant and we don't care anymore. And
Once both of us have stopped posting videos.
Yeah, he'll make
One
this giant wonderful video on how we suck in every possible way, and
Yeah.
I'll disregard all the criticism.
In like 20
and
years,
I'll-
once all of us have
I'll
moved on, and we just no
disregard
longer
all the
podcast.
criticism and tell him, learn how to pronounce the th sound properly, you fuck, and then like just ignore him.
He's just gonna just I don't know.
So, Garam, do you want to talk about I'm pretty sure we've already mentioned that Edgy appeared for reasons, and then disappeared.
For also reasons,
Yeah,
all of them unknown.
all of them unknown.
Namely, we kind of kicked his ass.
I don't
but
even
it
know
doesn't
that.
matter-
Like,
it doesn't even
it's not
matter
really
if
an
that
ass
happened.
kicking.
How does he know we exist?
Yeah, it's not even really an ass kicking when like the dude shows up to like comment on like a single like 5-minute stretch of like a 2-hour podcast, and then like and then like gets told like, nah, dude, we made an attempt at communication. He's like, oh, I didn't, and like just real like he didn't even say anything. Like it wasn't even like, I mean. I don't know, like, I guess Lom kind of defended him.
He was just there to shitpost.
Yeah, he was just there to shitpost. He found us somehow and decided to shitpost.
I mean, maybe that's just, he just gets bored. He has hobbies. He just
if he
shitposts
wants to
on.
do that interview, I'm totally open to it. He's
Yeah.
still, I PM'd
Please
him.
notice us
two
again.
different-
The second
I PM'd
time.
him several times, like a while back when I was still like, it's like, it's not like I haven't, like, it's not like I'm not trying to PM him now or something. It's that
Please unforget that we exist.
well, like, I'm not his friend, and I'm not on his friends list, or he removed me. And he closed he closed or left all the servers that he and I were both on. So I'm not allowed by Discord's fucking retarded insane logic to send him any PMs.
No, you're just blocked forever.
Yeah, like I'm not even blocked. It's just you just I can only send friend requests. So now
He's
it's there.
just not even interested.
So now, like, he's probably not even gonna watch this. He's still gonna think like, oh
No.
man, he's trying to get Senpai to notice him. Well, guess what? Fuck you, and like just hits decline on the friend request. But,
Whatever.
But I would like to do that interview with him. I would because I mean
it would be interesting.
Yeah.
Like, would you want to do it like yourself or like have like us?
Well, that's what I did. I mean, if he wants to come on the cast as a guest or something at some point, that'd be fine too.
Like called like a love interview or something.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the thing was is that I already did interviews with Spino and Lazy Otaku because I was convinced. I'll be honest with you. I was convinced for a while that until Kraut did that video where he was like, yeah, dude, I looked into his YouTube history because I'm fucking autistic. And look at all this shit I found. And like before that, I honestly thought that Edgy was like just a regular conservative dude in a liberal place that was like getting more conservative because like his friends had kind of betrayed him. Because like I've seen that happen to people before. And then, like, I thought that he had kind of been, like, for lack of a better term, radicalized into far right and alt-right thinking by, the girlfriend that he got, like, fucking... The girl. Fucking,
Or otherwise known just as
Fraulein,
girl.
Yeah, Fraulein Freiheit, who, might actually be a Nazi or something. I don't know, but like, she showed up into his life, and immediately after she kind of appeared in his shit, like he started getting much more extreme, much more rapidly. So I was thinking, like, I was trying to put together a whole thing because like I kind of felt that whole point was glossed over, like. Everybody else, when they ever had videos or examined what happened with him and why he closed his account or why he got into feuds with people or what happened with the alt-right or the Reddit shit and everything else, they kind of glossed over the fact that she was supporting him the entire time.
Yeah.
So, like, I was wondering if, like, she was a bigger factor than a lot of people thought, and I wanted to, kind of construct a more concise... like I said, for lack of a better term, mini documentary on the whole thing to get the full picture. But, time constraints and the fact that I'm a nobody on the internet, so no one's going to talk to me. Like, I'm not going to get a fucking... I've been trying to get in touch with people like, Devil's Advocate for a while. It's like, I'm not going to get in contact with iHypocrite. I'm not going to get in contact with Kraut. I'm not going to get in contact with Devil's Advocate. But apparently I'm going to get fucking Edgy to comment on our shitty podcast. So, whatever.
Oh, well. Yeah. Clearly, we just need to keep going higher because we're too important.
We need to continually...
We're too important for those people to come on our podcast.
All right, so what's next? All right, so first Kraut, then Trump, then we criticize God. Wait a second, we're back where we started.
Yahweh to our podcast.
We invite Yahweh to our podcast and call him a bitch. We're back in. Welcome back to 2000.
Hey, remember that time you fucking flooded everything? What was up with that?
Yeah, dude. Yeah, the podcast just going to turn back into. It's just. By that point, we'll realize we have just gone back in time, and it's just 2000. It's YouTube circa 2008.
Yeah, we're fucking Thunderfoot again or some shit.
We have become the amazing. We've become the drunken peasants. Just shoot me. Drunken Peasants came out in like 2013, though. Whatever.
I don't know. You can invite like Mike Pence onto the fucking podcast. So tell us about your plans for dealing with the gays.
Farmers hate him. This one man, this man's one trick for turning fruits into vegetables. All right,
so Vice President Pence, what can you tell us about war with North Korea? You think it's likely soon, or? Oh god!
We're gonna get a commenter that's fucking Mike Pence in the picture. They're fucking. We'll know it's him because the fucking like YouTube icon for them will be Raiden from Mortal Kombat 9. Anyway, all right.
It's gonna be fucking M Pence 96.
Yeah. There's some fucking 1999 username. All right.
He's such an old user. He has a GIF as his fucking
NSK Lightning
fucking
Man
icon.
2121. All right, Garam. We have shit posted this cast into dust. You want to talk? Do you want to give your 2 cents on the edgy thing or the drama thing or anything? Well, I'm sorry, we just kind of shit on you this whole cast.
No, I stopped caring about edgy a long time ago.
I was afraid for a second that you were going to say I stopped caring about your opinions a long time ago.
I mean, that goes without
saying.
saying.
That's the type of shit I keep to myself.
Damn! I done
son.
played myself.
Do we just want to wrap this up with the biggest just fucking... It's been 2 weeks, and this has just been going on and fucking on, and...
there's 3 things here that we could wrap this up with that have been going on and fucking on. Are we talking about the black science man and science teacher man being shills?
That was like
the
AdSense Monday.
Everyone just having a collective shitstorm over AdSense, and I just want to make a few comments on this one.
All right.
1, listen, everyone. You do not own YouTube. You were not entitled to fucking money from YouTube.
Oh boy.
Stop acting like you're fucking entitled to money.
I mean...
No, but we rely on it for, supporting our livelihoods because we can't get a real job.
So let me get this straight. You have made a career on shitting on corporations and corporatism and all this bullshit. However, you take money from YouTube using an advertising program that takes money from those same corporations you shit on.
Not really.
24/7, kind of, yes. But the point is, what the fuck did you expect was going to happen?
I mean...
This was pretty much
all right,
an inevitability.
I'm with you on the last point, but everything else I have to disagree. I kind of covered this. Yeah. I thought we covered this last time when I was talking about harmful opinions. Look, I'm not saying that you're wrong in that. YouTube is its own corporation. The AdSense can do what they want. Advertisers can do what they want. It's their money. Yada yada yada.
It's a douchey fucking move. I'll give you that one. But at the same time, I'm just.
But there's still a point, though. It's the artist's dictum, dude. It's these people, for us, for lack of a better term, are the kind of people that built this platform. Just because PewDiePie might have is the biggest one on YouTube and made it all their money, just because Styx or Sargon or whoever has more viewers than us, you have to take it from the perspective, the macro perspective of them, where they don't know who's going to rise to the top, and they don't know who's going to be the most watched. They can't just fucking shut off the whole thing because they can't figure out what'll make them they can't figure out they can't just shoot fish in the barrel, for lack of a better term here. And I'm mixing metaphors badly.
There's 2 issues here. One is the business side of YouTube, and I agree. YouTube is being retarded, and they should be going after this entire issue a completely different direction. Instead of trying to silence people on YouTube not silence them, but instead of just trying to come up with these very draconian rules, and quiet people are just not, how to say this, they don't communicate with their user base. They don't communicate with their creator base. They just come up with a new algorithm and they release it. And
Yeah, I mean,
then they wonder why everyone gets angry at them when everything changes. And I go, well, it's because you blindsided everyone. Now, whether you like it or not, YouTube, you do have a literal and social contract with the user base. There is, yes, the literal terms of service, but there is also a social contract. And it's informal, and no one quite knows what it is because it varies from person to person. There's a conception of the relationship between the content producer and the service provider of YouTube. And part of that agreement is that there's going to be communication between YouTube and its content producers about the standards by which content will be judged on the platform. And when you don't tell content producers that you are going to change how the content is judged on the platform, and then everything changes, and yeah, they're going to get pissed off because you breached the social contract. There's a lot of YouTubers who want to produce advertiser-friendly content. However, YouTube is doing a absolutely godforsaken, terrible job of communicating what constitutes advertiser-friendly right now. Because I don't even think YouTube knows themselves.
Well, it changes from day to day based on what advertisers they have and what their advertisers want and so on. And that's kind of the problem is they would be required to set like explicit terms of service, like with relation to this, like specifying all these other things, and all what qualifies as like good things for them to sell ads for. But then they would have to do the same and be like, for all potential advertisers, here's what we allow and here's what we don't allow. And then that might drive away business. And they're not really willing to do that, even though to me that makes a lot of sense because you're letting advertisers know what they're getting into ahead of time. And then they're not going to get ass mad at you later if for some reason they change their mind about what they want and then you refuse to demonetize different videos or something. And for me, that makes more sense in the long term as far as like protecting your ass. But YouTube and like Google and as well.
Yeah,
they're not thinking very long term.
I generally agree with Garam on that. There's a major problem on the business perspective from this whole thing. It's just, we can still sum it up though as just Ancient Aliens guy corporatism. Like this is the common problem through most Western corporate business models. Of they have a corporate structure that is that is conducive to letting incompetent people get in control of situations and communication to be completely broken.
And these are, of course, all considered to be, this is the best way to do it because, look, all the successful corporations do it that way. Well, why did they all do it that way? Because that's what everyone else did. Well, why did everyone else do that? Oh, because idiots decided we should do it this way so that they could keep their jobs.
The old adage about
it's all a big
as any organization, there's an old adage, as any organization grows in a linear fashion, the levels of incompetence within that organization grows at an exponential rate.
Yeah. Well, I guess to close this out because you're right. We probably should wrap this up. At least from my side, I do agree with you that these people are generally not entitled to that money, but at the same time,
and they keep on bitching. They keep on bitching and whining at YouTube, saying that these people don't know what the fuck they're doing. They keep on whining and complaining about corporations being super crafty and trying to come up with ways to demonetize them. And then what do? They're completely dependent upon the very thing that they acknowledge that corporations are trying to do. And the only thing that, according to these people, is standing in their way of losing their livelihoods is an incompetent organization. And then they wonder why something like this fucking happens. And I'm just looking at them going, what the hell did you expect?
That was what I was going to say.
Why didn't you take measures to protect yourself financially from this?
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. It's like I'm kind of split on the whole thing because while I do understand it's a private company and the advertisers are private companies, I don't like the idea of them just being able to rescind any kind of support because they believed in fucking some memes that the Wall Street Journal spouted about like a video with 300 views.
Basically on a whim Not even like a long term, like we're going to think about our strategy on this. She's like, now we feel like it.
But it's more than likely that it wasn't even really a
agreements.
whim so much as it like that
Yeah.
was the spur to put it to it, because a lot of the other
They've been
major
wanting to
media
do it for a while, and they
corporations,
just-
yeah, a lot of other major media corporations have been trying to take
They're
YouTube
sort
down.
of colluding to like silence these voices in a way.
Yeah, whereas like YouTube is just fucking retarded, and well, Google is fucking retarded rather, and being like, oh man, we have all of these enemies, let's just give them what they want. You fucking idiots. Like, yeah, you're right. They're not. I don't think they're wholly entitled to that. But like the idea that content creators shouldn't be able to monetize stuff that they've been monetizing forever, and that ad revenue.
The idea that YouTube could just change their mind and be
it's fucking stupid, because like the entire reason why they even created the monetization process in the first place was because they understood that their content creators, whether big or small, were if they were incentivized to create more content, they were going to draw in more revenue for YouTube. YouTube is probably losing the majority of the money that YouTube and Google is losing on YouTube, rather, probably just is because they have incompetent business practices.
Yeah,
not
no,
because
they just have layers and layers of bureaucrats.
Yeah, not
that
because
now need to justify their own existence.
Yeah, not because YouTube just costs such an astronomically high amount of money to use.
Google is like actually failing. If you listen to like the actual like insider news, they're just increasingly getting co-opted by like H1, just by like green card holders who then proceed to get entrenched in the bureaucracy and just get more like random people hired that are like just increasingly high numbers. And like, I don't want to be like an asshole, like you can't have like all of this stuff going on, like where we need to just hire American, but like the H-1B visas are exploited to fuck, and this is known, and you have Google essentially allowing their internal bureaucracy to just be co-opted by people that have no interest in making it an actually successful company. They just want to exploit it, and this is increasingly becoming the case. From all like reports of like accounts of like their internal business practices, you just have like blue-haired SJWs and you have like
fucking Indians.
Yeah, and Indian tech workers that completely fabricated all of their qualifications, can't code, just copy code off the internet. Like say they have a doctorate when they have an associate's degree or something. And then they just go and hire more Indians on because, of course, they would.
Yeah, I mean,
or
like,
you have the blue-haired SJWs
to
that
be
only
fair,
hire SJWs.
It's not because they're Indians; it's because they have large
it's
families that they constantly are, calling more family favors.
It's because nepotism is
eternal.
Yeah, nepotism is eternal, but it's also accepted in a lot of other cultures, and it's just not.
Unless you're white.
In American corporations, and the thing is,
I wouldn't say that.
For American, I wouldn't say that either.
I work for a company that is being run into the ground by white people's nepotism. I promise you, nepotism is alive and well in white cultures.
Yeah, it's just it's a different kind of nepotism. American corporations don't have an easy time of dealing with that same kind, like a different kind of nepotism than the ones they're used to. So you get all these people where like they expect nepotism in the form of like networking and like people that you work with, and then so people that have similar strategies.
They expect the basic bitch nepotism where it's this
nepotism.
Is my daughter. She has no experience doing anything, but I'm gonna put her in my like assistant position.
They just aren't prepared to deal with the kind of nepotism that is now occurring in these major like Silicon Valley companies and so on. They did like on like a corporate like structural and like cultural level. They just aren't prepared to deal with it. And in addition to that, like I said, you have the blue-haired SJWs that they only hire SJWs. They also don't know how to code.
And
they're
also
put in charge of people that do know how to code. You had what's her face like Lorenza something or other a while back. Well, like she was like the lead coder or like code like programming outreach something or other. It turned out she didn't even know how to program in JavaScript. She had like she had like an account on like Code Academy she had barely even finished like the HTML programming section. She was just then moving on to like JavaScript or whatever. It was fucking ridiculous.
It was embarrassing.
And it's embarrassing. And then Google, to be honest, like externally, like they seem very successful, but like from all the internal reports going on, it seems like they're failing horribly, and like over time they're just going to get worse. And the main thing that's holding them up now is just like, firstly, all their patents, where they can just patent troll to prevent competition, because of course they can, and also just there's all of the fucking money they get from like the intelligence and like defense, contracts they have secretly that they don't talk about, where they design
old school
like
fascist
tools.
playbook.
Yeah, they just design tools for the NSA and so on.
Yeah,
so you have the fucking NSA getting like all of their tools designed by rabid, incompetent like SJWs and like Indian tech workers that don't know shit about fuck. They just keep giving them more and more money. Yeah,
like it's the old school. It's the old school, like the old school fascist playbook meets the fucking like real estate's adage of just everyone all they do is invest in infrastructure and military. So like they have all this money coming from military, and they keep investing in they keep buying solid property and stuff like that. That's why they have they have shenanigans like they're like the Google fiber optic stuff that they have in Texas and everywhere else. It's like, that's not because they're so advanced and cool. It's because they need an anchor point, because all of their liquid stuff is fucking flying every which way. They need anchor. I fucked it up. What I was trying to say.
No, there's actually, I watched recently a talk from Mudge, better known as like Peter known as Mudge, but his real name is Peter Zatko. DEFCON 21. He was talking about how basically there's no incentive for corporations working for like defense and like military contractors in the or not defense, like military and intelligence contractors in the US to change their fucking like incompetent like development and then like fuck shit up and then develop more cycle at all, because
they're the lowest bidders.
Yeah, no, not only because they're the lowest bidders, but let's say you have, and this is basically the point he made, let's say you have a defense contractor that's hiring Google to make like a self-driving tank or something, right? Just pretend for a second Google makes tanks, right? And then they also make self-driving tanks. So somehow there's a terrible fucking failure with the self-driving tank. It's a complete disaster. It's a complete fuck up once it's deployed to the field. Or alternatively, and this was his example, the designs for it get stolen, so that the tech is we no longer have the tech advantage. And I was sort of like extending that to like failures of technology count as failures of tech advantage in the same way that like getting your tech stolen and copied by everyone else also loses you your tech advantage, because now everyone has the same tech. So what do you think will happen? Do you think Google will not get to continue selling self-driving tanks to the U.S. military because it was such a failure, or because they allowed it through incompetence to be stolen by other countries? No, of course they won't not be allowed. Rather, of course they'll continue to sell these self-driving tanks to the government, because it would take so much more money and so much more time and like bureaucratic effort to reappropriate funds from Google and be like, no, you're not going to fucking make us self-driving tanks anymore. And then to request permission to send out like a new contract to get like a different corporation to make a self-driving tank that actually fucking works well, or that like that is better than the old one they got stolen, especially considering like the fuck up that what would be the last one. And then to send all the money to them, and then after that you have to wait for them to basically reproduce all of the research Google did on the self-driving tank from the beginning before they even get to the point where they're actually capable of making something of the same shitty quality as the self-driving tank that Google gave you, and then improve on it, and that will take years.
Yeah.
So you're better off, or at least from the perspective, I don't view it as this way, like they're actually better off, but they view themselves as being better off
Just sticking with a retard, hoping
and
that
just
they'll
sticking with the retard and saying, fix this one thing. They fix that one thing. It's like, oh, okay, this is okay, I guess. But then they fuck up again, and they have no incentive to not keep fucking up because because the effort required to not keep fucking up is wasted. And it's actually to their detriment to not fuck up continuously as long as they don't do it too often, because then they just keep getting new contracts. And they have to spend more money to not fuck up, so why do it? And if they fuck up like exactly the right ratio of, fuck ups, they're just going like if their frequency of fuck ups is in perfect resonance with like the fucking military industrial complex,
acceptable boundaries,
they'll just get a continuous fucking influx of money just to constantly fix problems that they created.
Yep.
And that's the kind of shit that makes me think, yeah, Google's going to be around for a while, but they're going to keep getting more and more fucking retarded.
Just like everybody fucking else.
Yeah.
Well, think about it from this way.
And it's the same with, like, you also have, like, search engine and other forms of, like, internet tools and so on.
What the fuck's going to tell them that they're fucking up? Where are the little nudges here and there?
When their software, like, doesn't fucking improve at all, and when like they keep getting lower and lower quality programming over time, you have people that can't even fucking program in assembly anymore. The people that literally only know like Python and Ruby. And like all they do is they just
not even
see everyone else's apps and like rewrite like 12 or 11 lines of code and call it a new app.
I swear, here's what I think: they're not going to give a shit until it affects the bottom line, and by then the damage to the organization will be too much.
Yeah,
it's not going to affect their bottom line. That's what I'm saying. It's not going to affect their bottom line, because people were just going to keep giving them more goddamn money, almost like just for decades after. They're just complete, absolute garbage, and everyone knows it. Just because it would take so much more effort to just have someone else rebuild up to the point that they're at and not be garbage.
If there's not a real competitor that can just come out, the best you can hope for is like one of their major shareholders noticing everything's going to shit and swinging their weight around to actually investigate it from the top. And then when that happens, usually that's when like the fucking that's not a situation where you turn the lights on in a dark room and there's cockroaches all over the floor.
No.
That's like you fucking overturn that's like overturning a single boulder and finding a fucking dragon under it. Like you're just fucked.
Yeah. Like no, it's I have absolutely.
I have to say, when you said these are people that only know how to code Python and Ruby, I swear I felt Garom's heart stop for a second.
Yeah, I will say my fist clenched, and you may have heard me under my breath. Not even C. I mean, if C language is too complicated for you to understand, kill yourself. Just fucking
kill yourself.
Kill yourself. Just fucking end it now. Find a bridge and just jump the fuck off.
Put that shit on a t-shirt. Yeah, we should follow Harmful's fucking like example. Let's go to Cafe Press and like start the fucking for our one fan. He can order a fucking t-shirt. It's just a black t-shirt that just says, quote, if C is too complicated for you, kill yourself.
I mean, we're at the point with C code where the compilers are so intuitive as to what you're trying. They'll fucking debug the code for you. You just need to tell them.
That's a meme. That's not real.
Okay,
compiler optimization is not as big as people think it is.
I've always been really. Maybe it's just because it's so fucking easy. It just feels that way.
Try writing your own compiler, and you will understand why it's a meme.
Okay, I don't see that happening anytime soon. But seriously, I mean, it's not that fucking hard.
No, it's not hard to write C. No,
it's ridiculous.
Like I was just pointing out,
only figure out like Java, like seriously,
the whole like you can't optimize more than the compiler can meme is just fucking retarded. But no, I get what you're saying.
Yeah. It's like what I've always scratched my head at Minecraft. It's like, why did you even start coding from JavaScript to begin with?
Because he's fucking
because he's Swedish.
Swede, I don't know.
Isn't Nacha Swede?
And also, no, not just Swede. See, the thing is, the problem is Linus is Finnish, So of course
They don't
you know,
fucking agree on anything.
Yes, so of course Notch is going to go the opposite way and be as tech illiterate as possible.
And we're gonna find out Lord what's his name is
Lord British.
Yeah, like Notch's ghost brother, fucking the dude that they have to keep removing every patch of the game.
That was like some dumb. Like,
The meme that he has.
What was it? Creepypasta.
Yeah,
Hero Brian. Whatever.
Yeah, Hero Brian. And yeah, they had to. Yeah, Hero Brian is actually Norwegian. They can't agree on anything.
Yeah. Yeah.
Then like
Hero Brian actually knows how
the
to
guy
program.
who gets them Taco Bell when they were coding Minecraft originally in like 3 a.m. is actually a Dane. So like he shows up and he refuses to give them Taco Bell until Hero Brian gives him his oil fields back. You know, that kind of thing.
Yeah. Memes. Anyways. No, yeah, like I was talking about like Linus, the guy who wrote like Linux.
Yeah.
So yeah. That's why it's called Linux.
That's why it's called Linux.
It's Linus's Unix. Or something like that. I don't remember.
Yeah. Well, I guess we'll Bill Nye the Science
Cock.
Yeah. You stole the words right out of my mouth, you motherfucker. And Black Science Man.
Bill Nye, the anti-science guy.
Shill Nye, the science cock.
Shill.
Shill
Shill
Nye, the
science guy.
It works perfectly.
That's fucking wonderful. What wonderful synchronization. Yeah. So I guess we'll talk about we that one's not even really all that important. I guess we'll have a love seat eventually, or next time we'll talk about the fucking CIA. Mm-hmm. Because just all the dumb shit they keep doing keeps piling up. Whatever, it's the CIA. That's just gonna happen regardless.
Yeah.
They're like a force of nature. In the words of they're like the worst kinds of force of nature. Like in the words of Pyrian Flax, like a tornado or an earthquake or Fox News. You can't fucking control it. All right, so this has been Victor Von Zoom. This is Styx number 9.
Yeah.
And with us was Garam.
9!
All right, have a good one.